Hello, welcome, welcome. Um, just it's interesting that what comes today to share, what comes today to share is how, and this may not apply to you. Like you, listen if you like, go away if you like. It doesn't matter. But follow your intuition. So this may not apply to you. Um, but imagine that a person has been in a desperate situation. Imagine that a person has been in a desperate situation, maybe waking up in the middle of the night with night terrors, maybe, you know, sitting alone full of fear, maybe judging himself or herself in a, in a desperate way, maybe even considering leaving, taking their lives, like desperate, have, and maybe some of you have been there. And and then has gone into prayer, have said, please show me, guide me, tell me, help me. And then having gone into prayer from a desperate place, almost immediately begin to be lifted out of it. And and then some answers start to appear. A book appears, a teacher appears, um, a 12-step program appears. Things start to show up in our sphere. Answers start to come. And somehow we lose the connection between the desperate plea for help me and when the answer appears. And ego says, yeah, I'm feeling better now. Um, I thank you, but no thank you. That's too intense. I'm not going to go through that. And we say no. Um, and it's interesting, that I'm sure I know I did that. I did it. I did it. I know I did it. I lived in it. From a place of really, from a desperate place of mind and body, um, got a little bit well and decided that I was going to manage my awakening from the ego. And so just watch if you're doing that. Spend some time in quiet, literally, spend some time in quiet. And as the answers appear, if a book appears or a teacher appears, listen. Just listen. I have an example. It's been a lot of years with a teacher, Paul Lowe, and Paul said, I remember so clearly, because lots of times people would challenge him in the group. They would challenge him. They would say, they would point the finger at him, and often it was to take the the vision off of themselves, but they would point the finger at Paul, and and instead of just casting aside whatever they said as silliness, he always looked. He always looked. Um, yes. So that was the thing. It was like, and so this is what I'm sharing with you, I guess, is that what if everything in the universe is for us, but the mind, which is tormenting many of us, or has been, is judging always. This is for us, this is not, this is good for us, this is not good for us. And yet, at 4 in the morning, sometimes, right, at 4 in the morning, when we are in a desperate, sometimes, situation and full of terror or fear. I'm not saying this has happened to all of you, but many of us have had this. You know, all of the stuff clouds in. How am I going to pay the mortgage and the rent? And how am I going to, what happens when this happens? And, what if I lose my job? And what if all of that can cloud in and we're like overwhelmed with judging. What have I, oh my gosh, have I start drinking again, or the imaginary what ifs in the mind, right? Drive us crazy. So we're looking for peace, right? Are we looking for peace? Is anybody looking for peace? Um, yeah, if we're looking for peace, recognize that from the mind that's not at peace, we cannot judge what appears. If we ask the universe, universal intelligence, God, in the moment, if we say, please help me, then be very, just be available to be helped, right? Just be available. That's all, and stuff will start to move. You know, for me, um, my own journey. Still sometimes the mind, when it comes, how I perceive it is as sometimes as a tormentor, or as a um, not my friend. And I call it crazy mind, and you know, and something shifted yesterday again, because I'm still I'm still, I don't imagine that I've got it. I just imagine that whatever, I have had some amazing awakening experiences, and 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 there's more. The possibility to go deeper, to be more available in each moment for this peace, for this awakening, for this joy, for this love. And so, who am I to say, even after all these years of searching, that this is it? This, you know, I see that I am that. I see that. I know that. I feel that. I get it in every cell of my being. I am that. I am not who I thought I was. And yet I still uh, remain open to the possibility of more, you know? And not, I don't even, the English language is so difficult. I don't even want to call it more, uh, but to be more aside, to get out of the road, uh, you know, to, and so the shift that happened yesterday was that, um, or was it this morning? To see that the ego is actually in service, that the presence more and more has is moved into the house, and the ego who has lived here for so long is become less and less, and has, not in a mean way, but in a patient, considerate way. The presence has asked the ego to just, move into the servant's quarters, to be in service to this. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I think that for the very first piece of this awakening for all of us needs to be that the mind, the ego, who's been running the show, um, is in a way does not have your best interest at heart. It does from its perspective, because its perspective is colored with fear, colored with not good enough, colored with, um, this is a dangerous place. And we believe it, like we so believe it, that the whole idea that we'll be somebody if we get this, or if we achieve that, or if we, and so living in that dualistic ego-based world, we can never be at peace. It's never enough, never. So my job is to help my friends, and you're all my friends, to break out, to become free, To be free, baby. Yeah. So if you're asking for help, follow all the threads, you know, follow all the threads. And, when I speak here almost every day, I suggest a number of ways. There's a number of paths, although there's no path in a way, because the path is to now. But still, there's some support in this. And I suggest often Dr. David Hawkins, amazing teacher, several of his books that are just amazing, and his talks on YouTube. Hawkins, really nailed it beautifully. Ram Dass, I've listened to hours of Ram Dass and fun. He's got such great stories. He's a great storyteller, and the stories and the laughter open things up. They relax the ego, and it kind of transmits. This awakening transmits. Muji, same. Laughter and tears. I mean, I watch Muji and cry, not from sadness, but from joy. So there's teachers around for all of us. And if I have anything that, from in each moment to share, I'm available. And in doing this, but also one-on-one. So that's it. Just watch where ego doesn't say, "Oh no, I want freedom, but I want it in a certain way." You don't know how it will come. Be open. Be available. Be willing. Have some humility. Recognize that from the ego, we don't know. Ego just makes up stories. Okay? Yes, isms, idealism, right? We have an idea of how it should be, so that's an idealism. Check out the isms. I actually did a post did a post just the other day, trying to get into it. There we go. I'm going to just show you. It was a there we go. On I think it was yesterday. Did a post, and it was a tight the cover of several of there we go, Hawkins books, and he talked about the isms: moralism, idealism, hypotheticalism, romanticism, criticism, emotionalisms, dramaticism. Do you ever dramatize? Yeah, catastrophize. These are all states, relationalism is relationalist. IZE. Relationalize, yes. Fantasize. Infantilize. Intellectualize. Mentalize. Glamorize. Demonize. So all of the I's, prize, theorize, all states of the mind, right? And he called it how to detoxify the mind. The mind is relentless, izing in all it does. So to just again to identify, to see the mind, and to be able to say, "Oh gosh, look at that," in its multiple forms, is can be part of the surrender of the mind. Like, oh, I see it. Not just in its dramaticness, but all of the little games that it plays to keep us in the maze. And you really do have to want to get out. You really do have to want to get out. So, Kate, The beautiful thing about getting a little older is that part of what came up for me is holy shit, like um, an urgency has started to come in this awakening for me, like literally like an emergence, an urgency, an urgency. It was like I don't it has to happen, you know, it has to happen, an urgency to awakening, and because mind will say, oh, we got time. It's such a lie. Do it now, you know. Recognize when we do meditation in a minute that it just, you know, boom, we're there. um, January 9th, is that it? I think it is. This is a little book I've been reading from for a while. Sometimes it's really great. He's quite awakened. Sometimes he's quite in a dualistic belief system. But it's kind of like the mind, isn't it? When we were drinking, he talks, because the book was the very, very early days of AA. When we were drinking, most of us had no real faith in anything. We may have said that we believed in God, but we didn't act as though we did. We never honestly asked God to help us and never really accepted his help. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. Gosh. You know, when we do ask, then we say no thank you. uh, we never honestly asked God to help, and we never really accepted his help. To us, faith looked like helplessness. Ah, right, because ego says we need to be running the show. But when we came to the 12 steps, we began to have faith because we saw others had gotten free, many, many others. We began to have faith in God. We found out that faith gave us the strength we needed to overcome whatever it was that we were overcoming, whatever the addiction was. You know, some of us are just addicted to our story, you know, addicted to the concept of who we thought we were. But in the case of in the 12 steps, it was, you know, the addiction to drugs or alcohol or gambling. Have I learned that there is strength in faith? That's the question. Meditation for the day. I will have faith no matter what may befall me. I will be patient even in the midst of troubles. Yes, I will not fear the strain of life because I believe that God knows. I believe that God knows just what I can bear. I will look to the future with confidence. I know that God will not ask me to bear anything that could overcome or destroy me. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may put this day in the hands of God. Yes, in each moment. I pray for faith so that nothing will upset me or awaken my determination to stay sober. And what is sobriety? You know, we talk about emotional sobriety and spiritual sobriety. And it really all begins with surrender. And it ends with surrender as well. Surrender is the key. Yeah, gratitude as well. But surrender is the key. You know, dropping into nothingness requires surrender. Okay, you guys, love you, and we're going to meditate for a little while. I'd love it if you stay. And it's interesting, when I used to do this on my phone, I could see who was here when people would drop in. But unless you make a note, I can't tell who's here anymore. I'm doing this recording now, and I got a little MacBook Air, which was, you know, my old MacBook Pro was 10 years old. It was 2010, and this MacBook Air was it's amazing. Anyway, I'm enjoying it, but I can't, somehow I don't have a setting that allows me to see the people who have come, and only if you comment. So the other thing before we meditate, I'm building a YouTube channel. Love it if you go there, the Valley and Beyond. There's lots of links to it on this page, and go there and do what? Comment, subscribe, like, share, all of those things. Help me to build the YouTube channel. I won't, I've just this imagining that, you know, that this could make a difference, and that my experience of, you know, of awakening, but also of resistance. My experience of years of trying to run the show, even in recovery, can be of some help. Hmm. Yeah. So that's the deal. But I love your support in that. Thank you. And one way you can do that is on with YouTube. And yeah. Okay. Let's meditate for a few minutes. So just, wherever you are, unless you're driving, wherever you are, um, just close your eyes. I like my eyes closed. You can do whatever you want, but I find that when I close my eyes, it seems easier to just be here. And it's funny because often I will use the words, close your eyes and drop inside, and as if there's somewhere to go, to become one with this moment, to be that. Because there is nothing to do to be that. We are that. And even the words sometimes set up an idea that there was somewhere to go. And so just close your eyes and be here now. Experience the breath. Experience the body. Remember, the body is not you. That we're not our bodies. The body is in the experience. The same with our thoughts. Thoughts are in the experience. We are that. We are that oneness. So there's no I separate from the oneness. There's nothing separate from the oneness. you. Okay, love you guys. Thanks so much for sharing space today. Cheers.